Welcome to the Supply Chain Sustainability webinar, where we explore innovative points of view that challenge the current practices in all things supply chain, sustainability, circularity, and technology innovation. I'm Ifat Baror, Chief Growth Officer at Verte, a cloud-based supply chain platform powered by AI that enables retailers to manage their supply chain in one place with advanced inventory management and sustainability initiatives. We have guests that are on a mission to change the way brands are looking at supply chain sustainability. With us is George Wojciechowski, co-founder and CEO of Manifest Commerce, a leading sustainable logistics movement through earth-friendly, carbon-neutral fulfillment solutions. Joining us from Australia, David Fredericks, co-founder and CEO of Cerqular, a one-stop destination to buy and sell verified, sustainable, and circular products. We have Dan Baker, co-founder and CEO at EcoCart, empowering shoppers to make their online orders carbon neutral with the click of a button. Also joining us is Richa Wolfson, head of partnerships at Sendle, a 100% carbon neutral shipping service designed to make brands' lives simple, reliable, and affordable. And Verte's one and only Steve Bullard, SVP of Operations. He will share the power of technology and the collaboration and sustainability that can foster real change. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. If our listeners have any questions or experience that they want to share with us, please drop it in the chat. We're going to explore how you can build a sustainable brand from sourcing to selling and still be profitable. Sustainability can really become one of the greatest drivers of success for a brand. The pandemic didn't start the sustainability revolution, but it has definitely put it into hyperdrive, and Gen Z is in the driver's seat. According to a recent Forbes study, Gen Z and millennials demand sustainability retail, and they're willing to spend 10% more on it. They make decisions based on values and principles. I have a teenage daughter at home, and let me tell you, they know what they are buying. Many don't realize how the supply chain impacts a brand's sustainability story. I recently received a package from a very trendy sustainability beauty brand that I will not name. While the products were amazing, the way it arrived was anything but earth-friendly. It was a huge box, split orders, lots of unneeded paper. But there are many ways for e-commerce brands to implement eco-friendly practices in their business operation, especially when it comes to omnichannel logistics, which is famously very environmentally unfriendly. Our first speaker today is George Wojciechowski, CEO and founder of Manifest Commerce.
Thank you for that introduction. Apologies for the mute. So I'm really excited that we're all addressing this problem in supply chain, and I really do believe it's the only way forward, that every e-commerce business 3, 4, 5, 6 years from now either needs to be climate positive or carbon neutral. Because it's the only way that we can continue to sell our products, do it direct to consumer and B2B, and do it in a way that is actually sustainable for the future of this planet.
I agree with you, George. Your tips were very insightful and also actionable for brands wanting to be more sustainable. I think the growing efforts towards environmental sustainability are obviously no fleeting trend. And when we touch about shipping and packaging, it creates a huge carbon footprint. Even if your brand has sustainably sourced materials, actually getting products into the consumer hand can offset any eco-friendly goals your customer has. This problem is even bigger when you're a small business who's trying to save your bottom line and grow. However, we have Richa Wolfson here, head of North American partnerships at Sendle. Sendle is a 100% carbon neutral shipping company. Welcome, Richa. I would love to hear Sendle's full story and how did you become 100% carbon neutral?
Thanks so much, Ifat. Sendle is the first 100% carbon neutral shipping carrier built specifically for small businesses in the US. Our merchants really range from small artisans shipping everything from eco-friendly hair care to coffee subscriptions and pet accessories and everything in between. So we launched in Australia in 2014, we launched in the US in 2019, and we now have more than 1 million small business customers. As most people know, small businesses just aren't a priority for the major carriers, right? They focus on the large businesses with massive volumes, giving them really deep discounts, when actually it's the small businesses that need those discounts the most. They're the ones where shipping costs can really be crippling. So Sendle levels the playing field there for small businesses by offering flat rate carbon neutral shipping with no hidden fees, subscriptions, or minimums at all. And as we said, Sendle has been 100% carbon neutral since day one, and we're really proud to be the first of its kind in both the United States and Australia. We reduce the impact of shipping by tapping into existing delivery networks to utilize all the spare capacity within those networks. And then we also purchase carbon offsets to address the carbon emissions of each package sent via Sendle. We do this carbon offsetting through our partners at South Pole. We purchase carbon credits for really impactful biodiversity and reforestation projects all around the world. And then each year we invite our customers to vote on the projects that they want to support, so they get a direct say in how they would like to minimize their own carbon footprint. We also offer compostable packaging, addressing not just the carbon emissions of shipping, but other wasteful elements that our customers are really keen to tackle. And so by offering this 100% carbon neutral delivery service, we're really putting it in hands of small businesses to take responsibility of their own environmental impact. To date, we've actually shipped 18 billion miles of carbon neutral packages. And in a recent small business survey, 74% of respondents said 100% carbon neutral shipping was really, really important for their business. Sendle is a certified B Corp. As part of the global B Corp movement, Sendle has committed to net zero emissions by 2030. And that actually puts us 20 years ahead of targets set in the Paris Agreement, while further establishing us as the go-to green shipping solution. In October, we actually hired our first ever sustainability director to drive this net zero roadmap to 2030 and spearhead all of our environmental projects that we have planned for 2022 and beyond. At Sendle, we really see the environment and society as our key stakeholders, and we really believe in the future of the planet just as much as our bottom line. As has been mentioned by Ifat and by George, so we are seeing that the environment is obviously currently being impacted by the COVID-fueled e-commerce boom. And this is contributing and will continue to contribute to climate crisis unless bold steps are taken. I'm sure everyone has heard this statistic now because it's so shocking, but the shipping and logistics sector contributes 17% of global greenhouse gas emissions. And at the current rate, the World Economic Forum suggests that we will see 36% more delivery vehicles in cities by 2030. An environmental awakening is urgently needed more than ever in the shipping and logistics sector. I'm sure everyone on this call can agree. And Sendle is proud to be helping lead this global transition to a carbon neutral shipping and net zero carbon solution. If we can incite change in the industry, then it would be possible to reduce global emissions by 10%, which would be huge. We really want to take it a step even further than carbon offsets. We really want to see a world where every package is delivered carbon neutrally in an electric vehicle. In fact, in Australia in 2020, we launched the first 100% solar-powered electric vehicle delivery fleet with one of our courier partners, and we really hope to continue to do the same in the US. In a recent survey we conducted over here, 55% of respondents said that climate change has caused them to reassess their purchasing habits, much like Ifat's teenage daughter sitting at home. Small merchants and big merchants are really starting to take responsibility for their environmental impact because we are seeing the rise of this conscious consumer, and they really do expect brands that they buy from to be addressing climate change. Sendle is on a mission to not only take responsibility of our own impact, but to really encourage the entire industry to do the same. Thanks.
Small business. Oh, wait, something is playing. Thank you, Rich. All great tips for small businesses. And it's so important, the work that you're doing with these small brands looking to expand. Similarly, circular economy is a big driver into the future of retail. Consumers have become much savvier about where products come from and who makes them, especially when buying gifts for close friends and family who really care about these topics. And consumers are increasingly looking for brands with a strong social and environmental commitment, like was discussed here, which can really help boost sales as well as reputation among consumers. David Fredericks is the CEO and co-founder of Cerqular, a leading D2C marketplace for sustainable goods. Hey, David, what is Cerqular and Fair Advantage? We'll give David a chance to figure this out, and we'll move to a different topic of how can a brand provide transparency into their carbon footprints. Trust is such a huge part of building a loyal audience for your brand. So providing visibility on how sustainable your products are, not to mention your overall business, is a surefire way to retain and gain new consumers. We will now hear from Dan Baker, CEO and co-founder of EcoCart, a software for calculating business ecological footprint. Hey, Dane, with that being said, which parts of e-commerce business are typically responsible for the most carbon emissions?
It's an awesome question. Everyone here has kind of a different take on kind of the angle of kind of what it is exactly that we're targeting and looking to solve from a fulfillment perspective or a software perspective or even a discovery perspective, like was just mentioned. What we find as we kind of partner with brands across the industry really is we actually dive quite deeply into their carbon footprint and help them understand their carbon footprint in a very in-depth way from the entire life cycle. And so what we found is that, yes, there are a significant amount of carbon emissions that actually come from the delivery and logistics element of what a brand does. But also a very, very important element as well is the carbon emissions that come from both sourcing and actually manufacturing the product itself. And so that's an interesting kind of take on everything that we've all been sort of speaking about here in this call. And I wanted to kind of bring that up as an interesting angle and something that we actually look to solve, and actually something that our solution kind of goes above and beyond other folks in the industry, whether that's purchasing offsets from a broker, for example, or actually working directly with a carbon emissions analyst team or consultant to understand your carbon footprint in an in-depth way and actually bring your customer into that journey. That's really what we look to provide. One interesting element of this from a brand building exercise is the act of offsetting your emissions itself is incredibly important. And it's also important, and actually even more important, to build a story around why and how you're doing so. Brand building really is all about storytelling, after all. By creating impact pages, threading your offsetting initiatives throughout your entire customer experience, you can really create transparency and really drive an emotional connection between your customers and the offsetting, that mission that you're on, and all the other amazing things that a brand should also be doing to complement their offsetting initiatives. And we talked a lot here in this call earlier about really building, an entire sustainable supply chain and actually working to not only just offset the emissions, but also reduce those from the very beginning. And so all of this should be done in conjunction with that as well. And that's something that is incredibly important, and also a platform for you to be able to communicate to your customers. And EcoCart, the heart of what we do, really is helping bring a consumer into that offsetting and general sustainability mission and story. We provide a suite of software solutions to actually help a consumer understand all the amazing things that a brand is doing within the world of sustainability, and actually helping them even offset their carbon footprint themselves at the point of purchase by simply clicking a box at checkout to make their order carbon neutral. That in and of itself is, such a powerful initiative to be able to offer your customers, because at the most sensitive part of the shopper journey, the checkout flow, they can actually see that mission alignment with the brand. And that helps to increase customer loyalty, retention over time, and even boost to cart conversion rates. Our brands that we partner with actually see a boost to cart conversion on average about a 14% boost across our 1,500 or so brands. And that's just simply because the consumer is actively playing a role in their sustainability journey, and they see that mission alignment at the exact right moment. And that is incredibly powerful. And what we look to provide for the brands that we partner with, in addition to that, not just at the checkout flow itself, but also there's an entire shopper journey that we look to cover with our solutions and actually helping a consumer understand everything that a brand is doing, from pre-purchase to like what you see there in the middle of the screen. There's a sort of product page injection that we actually look to communicate to the consumer even before they add an item to their cart, the fact that they'll have a carbon neutral order option. Thank you for zooming in. That's helpful. And also an impact counter. On that left phone screen, you'll see a real-time impact counter that a brand can actually place on their homepage or on an impact or sustainability page, or even on the footer of their website, to communicate in real time to their customers that all the amazing impact that their brand is having, such as the pounds of CO2 or the equivalent trees that were saved by the brand. And all of this together is, again, creating this holistic sustainability experience for the consumer, so that at every touch point, they can understand and know that by purchasing with that brand, they are actually helping to make an impact in the world. And so that's exactly what our solution aims to do. There are numerous ways to kind of go about doing this. It all is meant to be a complementary solution to all the other things that were mentioned on this call previously, as well as all the other initiatives in the world that help to actually reduce the carbon footprint of your purchase or of the supply chain and manufacturing process from the very beginning. That's a little bit about our solution. In terms of who we partner with and how we kind of go about doing so, our mission at EcoCart, just for a little bit of context, is to actually make the fight against climate change easy, affordable, and accessible so everyone can do their part. And those three pillars are very important to how we build product. One of the most important elements of what we do is actually making it as easy, simple, and straightforward to implement or integrate EcoCart into your site. We deliver this through a Shopify app, a BigCommerce app, and other sort of general open APIs, if you're not built on those platforms, to be able to very easily integrate our solution directly into the site. We help a lot with the actual integration itself, so that the legwork is and lift is done on our side. That's a little bit about the solution and how we go about helping. We work with over 1,500 brands across different verticals and industries. CPG is a big industry or vertical for us, as well as apparel and fashion, outdoor, athletic, a lot of different industries and verticals. We even work with furniture companies. There's a lot of different companies and products that we look to make a little bit more eco-friendly. Happy to answer any questions you have or talk more specifically after the call.
Thank you so much. And I actually really like that the fact that the consumer is actually playing an active role in this. I think that's really impressive. And EcoCart really lets the eco-conscious consumer know all the initiatives that the brand is actively doing. So I think it's really great. And congratulations on the 30 under 30 from all of us, of course. Welcome. Test with David. Can you talk?
Oh, good. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. So
Awesome.
We're glad you're back,
Sorry about
David.
that, guys.
We can hear you very well. So David, what is Cerqular's our unfair advantage?
We save you time. We create a guilt-free shopping experience. We create a place where people can save a ton of time. So essentially, we're creating the perfect shopping environment for buyers as well as sellers. Not just the mission-driven ones, but really anyone who wants the same conveniences that they've become accustomed to on other platforms, but instead they can walk away feeling really good about their purchase. So they can forget about feeling guilty. They can buy an incredibly cool, sustainable product using some of the most amazing payment gateways, get it shipped sustainably with Sendle, which is so cool. Get it warehoused, fulfilled sustainably, and ultimately we're going to move into a membership model so we can aggregate and consolidate shipments. It's all about guilt-free shipping on a personal note. It's all about creating an accessible economy where people don't need to scratch their heads, spend 2 hours searching for a sustainable product or just a product that they love. It's going to be readily available at the fingertips. So that's what Cerqular is. By numbers, we are the largest, definitely the fastest growing sustainable e-commerce platform globally. And when I say e-commerce platform, sustainably minded, we're a lot more than just a marketplace. So we connect all different areas of the sustainable ecosystem in one place. To date, we've got about 135 brands, well over 50,000 products. We're adding hundreds, sometimes thousands of products each day. But I think the most important thing is it's across all verticals. So you can shop everything from apparel, something for your children, something for your home, electronics, all in one place with a single click, single checkout. It's a single point of destination. We launched Cerqular because we were brand people, my wife and I, my co-founder and I, prior to launching Cerqular. So for almost 20 years, we felt the pain points experienced by probably every single brand out there that has a sustainable mission-driven mindset, which is How do I compete against cheaper products on conventional platforms that target conventional shoppers only wanting the cheapest price? Well, the answer was it was really difficult. You had to spend a lot more. You had to really work so much harder to compete in an environment that wasn't tailored to you. Likewise, if you're a shopper, it's just as hard. You're going to spin your wheels. You're going to spend so much time searching for that solution only to give up and revert to what we've become accustomed to. So there's no way that we could actually scale sustainability in a meaningful way without actually launching Cerqular. So we launched Cerqular out of probably pure frustration, but also because we experienced firsthand the effects of climate change on our daily lives, having lived in Asia for a lot of our life, actually. Using this personal connection, we launched Cerqular to really fix those problems. And thanks to people like Sendle, Project Verte, Manifest, EcoCart, and so many other brands that we work with, we've got a solution that is really giving so many people not only an additional income source for brands, but also a really fun shopping experience for shoppers. So one of the questions that often comes up from brands' perspective is, do I qualify? Am I sustainable enough to sell on Cerqular? I don't think to date there is any 100% sustainable brand or business out there. I don't think it's possible with current technology to be 100% sustainable or 100% circular. But we are definitely moving the needle. And so what Cerqular is, and it's probably aligned with everything that we do, it's always about progressive change, incremental improvements. We request, well, we need that every single brand on the platform has at least one verifiable sustainable element to their business. So just being a supporter of charities, for example, and having no sustainable connection to your product simply won't qualify. But at the same time, we don't just turn people away. What we do is we work with them to make sure that we can help them maybe incorporate sustainable elements to their product or service. And then we really dig deep to try and find how they can actually get it verified without maybe getting it independently checked by maybe B Corp or USDA organic, whatever it may be. So we're all about assisting change and promoting the evolution to a more sustainable economy. It's working really nicely, thanks to everyone on this call that provides different bespoke services. Essentially, what we've realized in today's economy is supply chain is absolutely everything. It doesn't matter what area of the market you're in, whether you're in manufacturing, sourcing, shipping, selling. Essentially, supply chain is absolutely critical, especially the last mile. And what Cerqular has done, even though we are the selling platform, we really partner ourselves with people who fulfill these services in a meaningful way so that we can not only compete with the Goliath platforms that are currently dominating the market, but also provide sometimes even much better services at comparable or even lower prices. And we're seeing that people like Sendle, Project Verte, we're really hitting those goals to make sure that we are just as competitively priced in the market as well as being sustainable. And we're seeing that so many more shipments are going out as carbon neutral, really creating that guilt-free shopping experience.
Cerqular is really closing the gap in shopping sustainability, really making it easier for shoppers to know exactly what they're buying. And I agree with you, it's all about accessible economy. I also love the fact that you guys don't turn people down and really help them meet these goals and show them the way. I think it's super important. It brings me up to visibility, which is also such a crucial piece. Here at Verte, we quickly realized that the biggest pain point was aggregating all the data across the supply chain. We developed a cloud platform that connects everything in the product journey, all the dots between marketplaces, platform, 3PLs, and carriers, essentially enabling systems to talk to systems. We allow brands to make better informed decisions into their inventory in more sustainable ways, from manufacturing the right amounts, storing them, shipping them, and even to know what are the right marketplaces they need to stick with or where they need to remove inventory since it's not serving them anymore. Steve, what are Verte's green promises?
Our promise is to make our clients and their customers available to make educated green choices. So We work through the life cycle of a client experience through the e-com network. We can help clients make decisions about where that inventory is, how much inventory to have. And by reducing inventory, obviously there's benefits to overflow, overstock, and the associated things with that. On the shipping side, Vert does a couple other things systemically that really makes sustainability viable. And that's things like cartonization rule sets where the packaging that's going out is appropriate for that particular product. Similarly, the client can make decisions about the amount of sustainable packaging they want associated with that order. The technology allows to support those things, including carrier routing to sustainable carriers. In terms of viewing inventory and the AI side, again, there's two sides of the coin there where you can place inventory in predictive fashion on where that inventory should be, how much you should buy, and where that product is stocked. On the front side of that, you can also use distributed order management to make sure that you're shipping efficiently and from the right locations. And that's through that whole supply chain visibility that allows everybody to make better decisions, and better decisions lead to sustainable choices.
So thank you so much, Steve. All in all, the supply chain impacts the environment on a critical level. We heard some great tips from our partners. I would like to review the questions sent to us in the chat. If we didn't get to your question answered due to time, we'll make sure to reply in an email. So we have a question for George. George, how do we partner with the green fulfillment partner, and what does the process look like?
How do you partner with a green fulfillment partner? When you were speaking specifically about fulfillment, there aren't many companies out there that have taken the perspective that we have at Manifest Commerce and built out a value proposition that allows for cutting edge e-commerce fulfillment that also has eliminated plastics like we have from our fulfillment solution. Through our partner EcoCart, all of our shipments have the carbon footprint offset on every single shipments in all of our activities. And all of our poly mailers and boxes are made predominantly from recycled material and are curbside recyclable. For example, our poly mailers take about 680 days or so to biodegrade versus the standard poly mailer, which takes somewhere closer to 20 years. A lot of the conventional processes are very much in place. And I think that solutions are starting to come to the market. As you can see on this call, we have a lot of entrepreneurs and companies working toward a more sustainable e-commerce. There isn't too many opportunities to partner with a green fulfillment company outside of the people here on this call. Project Vert, Manifest Commerce, we're leading that change, but it's a change that needs to happen. And the process of onboarding is very much the same type of process that you would incur onboarding, if not easier, because we've been doing this for so long at this point, anywhere else in the e-commerce business. It's a matter of connecting your Shopify or BigCommerce, WooCommerce, Squarespace store to our WMS so that we can pull data and push it back. And then it's a matter of scheduling to send us the inventory and sending it to one of our fulfillment centers. Manifest Commerce, I would say, is the leading option if you want cutting edge, sustainable e-commerce fulfillment. And the process, once you onboard with us, is as simple as it gets. And part of that is because of our relationship with Project Vert and the amazing WMS and software that they've built that powers Manifest Commerce.
Thank you, George. That's true. The power of us. There's a question for David on Cerqular. What are the criteria that you look for in a brand that wants to sign up with Cerqular?
There are two criteria. We make sure that every single brand is a genuine brand, is a genuine business. We do this to make sure that, number one, they're not a knockoff. So we really eliminate, we have zero problems with scammers, cheap knockoff brands. And that's all about creating transparency, a fair playing field for brands, as well as a transparent shopping experience. But when it comes to sustainability, we need something that is verifiable, either from the brand's perspective or something that they can trace back to their manufacturer or to a sourcing element. So it could be, depending on which category they're coming from, if it's a food item, it could be USDA, it could be a different element of organic, it could be the packaging that they're using. It could also be what they are not doing in terms of certain practices as well. But we're also very interested in three different parts of the business. So new sustainable products, as well as used and revived products. So they market like ThreadUp Beyond Retro, which is enormous, as well as the upcycled and recycled market, which is all about giving us so much more value with so much less input. And so there are a number of different ways that people can join Cerqular, and it's all about, you know, capturing as much of the market as possible in one place and growing all those different sectors independently, but giving someone a seamless, you know, option to everything they love.
Thanks, David. We have a question for Dane. How do we calculate brands' carbon footprint, and how do brands begin the transition?
It's a multi-layered kind of complex answer. I'd say there's a lot of different ways to actually go about calculating a brand's carbon footprint. And again, there's so many different elements to the entire life cycle of a product or a purchase overall. I'd say there's a few different kind of ways to think about it. With our partnership, for example, we actually kind of go through this process that's rooted in different surveys that we work with our brands to ask them a bunch of different questions, such as where are your products actually manufactured? What element or what proportion of the energy that powers your factories or manufacturing facilities actually comes from a renewable energy source versus local grid, for example? How are your products actually sourced? Questions like this that actually give us a very good understanding of what a brand's carbon footprint is. We actually take that back, run an analysis, and actually provide what is a report to help a brand understand what their carbon footprint is. And so that's our solution. There are a bunch of other solutions out there. The closest alternative is actually hiring a dedicated carbon emissions consultant to, in some cases, spend well in the 5 figures to in an upfront cost to understand what your carbon footprint is. We do this at a much, much lower price and actually on a monthly basis as part of our EcoCart Plus plan. And that actually includes not only just the emissions audit itself, but also biannual reports, as well as in-depth analytics through our dashboard and a bunch of other different amazing solutions and value adds as part of our EcoCart Plus plan. And so there's a few ways of kind of going about it. The second part of that question is a really great question because there's one element to it, which is the insights as to what your carbon footprint actually is and that understanding. But then there's the next element of it, was how do you recommend or even go about actioning on those insights and actually coming up with actionable solutions to the problem. And that's something that is arguably the most important part of the exercise. That's where the expertise of what we provide actually really comes into play and comes in handy. That's, a little bit about how to go about that. It's a bit of a complex upfront sort of exercise, but it definitely pays off over the long term. And again, then once you have those insights, doing that work to optimize that and then communicating that to your customer throughout the entire shopping journey is incredibly important and exactly what we look to provide.
Amazing. Steve, this one is for you. How can we leverage Verte software or services to make it our own across our omni-channel activity?
Verte is both a SaaS provider, software as a service provider, and we're also fulfillment as a service provider. Since it's the Christmas season, we will say we like to eat our own chili. We actually run our own facility that's fully automated with robotics. We know that our software works, and we're constantly enhancing it and integrating it with the latest technology. On top of that, we can help clients have a distributed network and make that software available to them through our fulfillment services. But more importantly, we can make our software available to anybody that needs just the software package. So if you're running your own warehouses, you have a fulfillment buy need, Verte is capable of offering those software packages that have been tested and are truly built cloud-based, omni-channel specific.
And it's always current because it's all on the cloud.
Yep.
So you're good there. We will continue answering questions in an email if we didn't get to your questions. If you're curious to learn more, go to handouts on the top and you can download information from each of the companies that presented today. Thank you, George, Richa, David, Dan, Steve, and all our audience for joining today. Ultimately, while global disruption is creating some uncertainty in the short term, the long-term trend is toward more sustainability. This is creating opportunities for companies that are willing to embrace the change and lead by example. The power of us, like we said, as an ecosystem will ensure we can accomplish this goal. Thank you so much, everyone. This was fun. Bye, guys.
Thank you.